Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Welcome back to another episode of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. And I am your host, Carla Renata. I am streaming live via Facebook, via YouTube, and also on Twitch. Welcome, you guys. I thank everybody who was here last week. It was fantabulous. I had such a great time. Thank you so very, very much. So again, if this is your first time joining me and you're on YouTube, please click the notifications down below to get subscriptions or get notifications when we go live with this show. I do it every Sunday at 5 o'clock. I'm based in Los Angeles. I am a female film critic. I have my own site, The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I'm also a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic and a member of the Broadcast Film Critics Association, AAFCA, the African American Film Critics Association, the Online Association of Female Critics, the Alliance of Women Film Journalists. I got it right this week, and so many others. But what I try to do in this 30 minutes that I'm going to talk to you today is I try to inform and educate. Since we're in the middle of a pandemic, I just want to check in with everybody, see how everybody's doing, let you know what's going on with me. It was a rough week for your girl, but this is the one thing that brings me joy. So I'm happy to be able to, talk to you guys and talk to you about my films and what I like and what I don't like and this, that, and the other. So this is what the situation is for today. We are going to talk about some films that I love that are having some movie anniversaries this year. So one of them is House Party. Another one is Love and Basketball. We're going to talk a little bit about Hustle and Flow, and one of my all-time two favorites, Fame. Yes, Fame. I'm gonna live forever. Yes, honey, that one. And To Die For, this really kitschy film that Nicole Kidman starred in that I absolutely just love because it is batshit crazy. It's crazy as hell. And I kind of just love it for that reason. But let's talk about House Party, y'all. House Party is one of these films that is just, it's so yummy. It's so incredibly yummy. And it starred Kid and Play, who were really, really popular at the time. Loved me some Kid and Play. They were very, very popular at the time. And this film was one of those situations where they were, it was at the height of the hip hop movement, I guess I could say is what it was. It was at the height of the hip hop movement. And it was the first film that Reggie Hudlin directed, that he wrote and directed, and it came in the 90s. So let me get rid of that picture and show you this one. Yes. So it starred a plethora of people: Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell, Kid and Play, as I said, the late Robin Harris. Gosh, so many different people in that film. And it was Daryl Chill Mitchell, AJ Johnson, the late Robin Harris, and the late John Witherspoon. It just was a really hilarious film. Let me turn these notifications off on my phone so that they will stop bugging y'all. Give me a minute to do that. And we'll just keep on talking. So let me tell you a little bit more about House Party. I'm going to come back on the camera and tell y'all a little bit more about the House Party. All right. So there I am. I could not find me, and I can't get those notifications off. So we just gonna have to deal with it for a minute. But so House Party, we were talking about House Party. So House Party was the first movie that Reggie Hudlin wrote and directed. It came in the 90s, right? So it was right on the heels of Spike Lee, Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and with their respective box office successes of Do the Right Thing, Hollywood Shuffle, and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. The New York Times even ran an article at the time saying, in Hollywood, black is in. How many times over the decades have we heard that? And it what? Is cyclical. Like sometimes black people are in and sometimes they not. Seems like we hot again right now because of Black Lives Matter, but you know how it go. Insti-hoo. It's just a lot going on. But it was filmed over 30 days in 1998. It made $26 million, y'all, on a $2.5 million budget. So it worked itself out, and it made some money in the process. I was really happy to see that. So that's cool. I was really excited to see that. Oh my goodness, there we go. Live queue is okay. They're going to show up. All right. So the other thing I wanted to tell you about House Party is that we talked about all the people whose careers that it skyrocketed into stardom. But the thing that is really interesting about it is the fact that it gave Hollywood and it gave movie viewers a really different view of what the Black experience on film looks like. You know what I mean? It really, really did. Let me just hi, William Jacquin. There's no late. There's no such thing in being late. No such thing in being late. So it's all good. I'm just happy that you're here. Let me throw this picture back up of not Kid and Play, but yeah, let me throw this picture back up of Kid and Play for a second, just so that y'all can see that. Bam! Yes, Kid and Play. So, anywho, I was saying about House Party that it was one of those films where in the 80s, there were a lot of teen movies coming up that were white teen movies. 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, but nobody had seen the Black teenage experience brought to film and in movie theaters until House Party. And it was a huge, 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 huge hit. If you've never seen it before, if you're watching this and you've never seen House Party, let me break House Party down to you. House Party dealt with these teens that snuck out of the house to go to a house party, at somebody's house when their parents were out of town, and shenanigans ensued. But my favorite part of that whole film was the dance off between Shireen, Sydney, Kid, and Play at the party, and then the rap battle that they do at the party. It was bananas. It really, really was. Loved it so much. And the other thing that House Party did is that even then, Reggie Hudlin was conscious enough to be able to bring the issue of how police officers treat Black men when they're walking down the street. So there's a scene where Robin Harris is walking down the street trying to go get his son because he done snuck out the house and he ready to light into him, and he gets stopped by the police. And it's a moment. They took that moment and they didn't make it melodramatic. They just did it. It also showed the bullying. It also paid some attention to bullying in the form of Full Force, who also were in the film. They took a hip hop script and they made it cool. They proved that Black people are not monolithic with House Party. Now, House Party, excuse me for saying that. So let me tell you what you don't know about House Party. What you don't know is that it was a 20-minute student film of Reggie Hudlin's when he was in college, right? It was a 20-minute student film of his when he was in college at Harvard University. And it was originally, he got the idea to do it based on a song by Luther Vandross. I'll throw this picture up real quick one more time. He did it based on a film of a song by Luther Vandross called Having a Party, Bad Boys. So that's what happened with that. And it was one of those things that you looked at it and you were like, wow, this is really cool that somebody could actually, someone could actually draft a song, draft a short film movie off of a song, and a Luther Vandross song at that, because we love us some Luther, don't we? Yes, we do. We love us some Luther. So now I'm gonna come back to y'all so that you can see me. Put myself back on the screen. and finish talking about some house parties. So where am I? There I am. What is happening right now? I don't know why I can't ever get back to my picture, but anyway, I'm going to leave it there for a minute. Oh, here we go. There I am. Now I can get rid of this picture over here. Boom. Okay. Ooh, let me see who else is in the chat room while I'm trying to figure this out. Hey, Brandon, how you doing? Where is House Party available tomorrow to watch? It is streaming everywhere online. William Jacqueline, everywhere. Hi, Rose 7 on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. It's everywhere. So let me finish telling you what you don't know. So you didn't know it was a 20-minute student film by Reggie Hudlin when he was an undergrad at Harvard University, and it was inspired by Luther Vandross' song, the 1982 hit "Having a Party, Bad Boys." What I also didn't know that I thought was really cool was that DJ Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith were in the running for the lead instead of Kid and Play, and there was an issue regarding a lawsuit over a song. I don't want to say what song it is in case I'm wrong, but there was a lawsuit over the rights to a song, and that's why Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff didn't end up doing it. And it debuted during a midnight screening at the Sundance Film Festival. Those midnight screenings, having been at the Sundance Film Festivals, those midnight screenings are brutal, but it was a midnight screening at Sundance, and it made a star out of everybody. Tisha Campbell, AJ Johnson, Martin Lawrence, Kid, Play, Full Force, everybody. Hello. No, I Rose 7, I am not Brazilian. I'm African-American. Hey, H3, I think it's 311W44IF. I think that's what it is. But welcome to the broadcast. I'm doing great. I'm glad that you asked. Thank you so much for asking me how I'm doing. All right, so let's move on to the next film. The next film I want to talk about is this other film that I love, love, love. It's called Hustle and Flow. Now, y'all might know Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson from being Cookie and Lucius on Empire. But before they were Cookie and Lucius on Empire, they were in this film called Hustle and Flow, written by Craig Brewer. Now, Craig Brewer is the same person who wrote Dolomite Is My Name with Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy got a lot of praise and a lot of accolades for that film. And the film was also produced by the late John Singleton and Stephanie Elaine, who at the time was a vice president at Columbia, a senior vice president at Columbia Pictures. Now, Hustle and Flow deals with a Memphis pimp whose aspiration is to become a big rap star, breaking into the scene and reach the same acclaim as one of Memphis's own Skinny Black. Yeah, William Jackie, and those midnight screenings, they're harsh because you end up going to those screenings. So just side note, y'all, for who's never been to the Sundance Film Festival, those festivals screenings at midnight, you are up at like 7 o'clock in the morning trying to hit those screenings at 9 and 10 o'clock. So in the morning. So by the time midnight rolls around, you are on your last little bit of steam. So it's like, woo. Especially if you work at one of the theaters, yeah, it can be rough because that's a really long night for you. But this film, once again, was a film that starred a lot of up-and-coming African-American talent. Taraji P. Henson. They were up-and-comers. Let me backtrack. They were up-and-comers to everybody else, but they were stars in the Black community. Let me just say that. And it was Taraji P. Henson. It was Anthony Anderson. It was Terrence Howard. It was who else was in there? Elise Neal and Taryn Manning. Now, this is where you would know all of those people from now. You would know, bye, H3, take care. You would know them from, you would know Anthony, of course, from Blackish. He was in a Martin Scorsese movie. He now hosts To Tell the Truth on ABC, and he's doing really, really well. You know Taryn Manning from Orange is the New Black. I told you, you know Terrence Howard from The Best Man franchise. You know him from that, but you also would recognize Terrence Howard in the Jackson miniseries. Yes, he was one of the Jacksons. Go back and look at it, y'all. You will crack up. And Paula J. Parker, who is the voice of not Penny Proud, the voice of the mother on The Proud Family, which is coming back to Disney Plus. And she was also a recurring actress on Ray Donovan. And she's been around for a minute. And side note, Taraji, Paula, and Anthony Anderson all went and graduated from Howard University, as did I. So, I had to give Hustle and Flow some love today. So there's that. Now this is, and the big thing that came out of Hustle and Flow was not only the fact that all these wonderfully talented people were in it, but that the song Is Hard Out Here for a Pimp, it got nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song, and 3-6 Mafia walked away with that Oscar that night. I don't know about y'all, but I was screaming like I had lost my last bit of good sense. I'm like, oh my God, they just won an Oscar for It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. I was like, oh no. But that's what happened. Now, this is what you don't know about Hustle and Flow. Terrence Howard told Craig Brewer, the director and producer, that he didn't want to play a pimp. And Brewer told him that's exactly why he wanted to play it. And evidently Brewer was right, because Terrence Howard ended up getting an Oscar nomination for his role as DJ in Hustle and Flow. It also took 4 years for the film to get off the ground, and it was shot in 23 days. I love how these Black filmmakers are shooting films in less than 30 days or 30 days. They are not messing around. And it was one of Isaac Hayes' last screen appearances. Isaac Hayes won the Oscar for the theme song to Shaft, the movie Shaft, and he was a really popular Grammy Award-winning recording artist in his own right. And Taraji and Elise were nominated for NAACP awards for Hustle and Flow. Now, let me get to Love and Basketball, y'all. Oh, but before I go on, let me just say Hustle and Flow celebrated a 15-year anniversary this year, and House Party, I believe, celebrated a 20-year anniversary. No, 30. House Party is 30 years. Now, Love and Basketball is a 20-year-old anniversary this year. And it's directed by Gina Prince Blythewood, who incidentally also directed The Old Guard with Charlize Theron and Kiki Lane, which is streaming on Netflix right now. But back in the day, her first movie that she ever directed and wrote was Love and Basketball. And it, again, starred a plethora of up-and-coming stars to everybody else. But in the Black community, we were already down and we knew who they were. Omar Epps, Sanaa Lathan, Regina Hall, Alfre Woodard. They were all in this movie. And it was produced by Spike Lee. That I didn't know. Or maybe I knew and I forgot. But it was produced by Spike Lee. And then this is what you don't know about Love and Basketball. Let me roll up my sleeves and give you the skinny about some Love and Basketball, because I gagged when I found out these things. I found out that Gabrielle Union actually auditioned for the role of Monica, the role that eventually went to Sanaa Lathan. According to the New York Times, this is what Gabrielle said about that. She came in and literally had the same clothes on that she had played basketball in that day. And Gina Prince Blythewood was like, yeah, you don't look like a baller to me. And Gabrielle was like, well, what? Wait, but I am. I don't know what to tell you. She was like, yeah, I don't think. Hey, Michael B. She was like, yeah, I don't think you'd be perfect for that role. And they go on and they give Gabrielle the sides. And Gabrielle's like, ho? And then basically she was like, you don't look like, Gina was like, you don't look like an athlete. And she was like, but you do give me ho vibes. Can you imagine going into an audition and the director telling you, yeah, you don't look like you could be an athlete, but you kind of give me ho vibes? That in itself was hysterical. And this is in a New York Times article. Gabrielle said she was very offended, but it was one of the biggest breaks that she got, one of the bigger breaks that she got in her life. It was her third movie ever. And so she was very new and very, very grateful. Sanaa Lathan was trained by an LA Sparks coach to help get her ready for her role as a really seasoned basketball player in Love and Basketball. And she got the part after Spike Lee and Gina heard her do the reading at the Sundance Film Festival. So again, about the Sundance Film Festival, they do readings of new movies there because they've got all that talent there. They've got an audience there. All these producers, directors, name talent there to see these films. So they do these readings, and sometimes it's called Read My Screenplay, because I did one of them one year when I was up there, and they invite all these people and you do a table reading of the film, and either your film gets financed or it doesn't. More films get financed at Sundance that way than not. but it's a really cool way to get your film up and going if you got all your ducks in a row. So that's how Sanaa Lathan got in the film. Sanaa and Omar Epps were an actual couple at the time, which I don't know how I missed that. I didn't know that either. They were dating in real life. Alfre Woodard has played Sanaa Lathan's mother 3 times. She played her mother in Love and Basketball. She played her mother in Tyler Perry's what's it called? With Family That Prays Together. And she played her mother in Something New. No. No, it was, and Gina is a woman. She is not a man, Michael B. But no, but I'm sure I know Gina Prince Blythewood's heart and her spirit, and I don't think she meant that in an insulting way. It's just she was speaking to her in terms of what they were looking for in the process of them doing that particular script. But moving on, so Alfre Woodard has played Sanaa's mother 3 times, and then Regina Hall and Sanaa Lathan in real life are best friends. And they're also good friends with Gabrielle Union, which I really kind of love because the industry is hard enough, especially for Black females. So I love the fact that these really fantabulous Black women, all of which I love individually, are like a trio of friends together. I loved hearing that. And side note, but not really, I used to go, when I had dreadlocks, I used to go to get my hair twisted and washed and everything by this guy. And this guy, his name was Andy Drew, I think. And he did Sanaa Lathan's mother's hair, Eleanor. And I met her mother there, and we would sit in the hair salon kikiing all the time. And I hadn't seen her in a while until I think it was last year or a year before last, I interviewed Sanaa for a film, and her mother was in the hall, and I dragged her in the room with us. It was fun. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Love and Basketball for their 20 years, give Hustle and Flow their 15-year love. And now we're going to go into one of my favorite films. Fame, honey. We're going to live forever. Yes, we are. So let me just give you a side note about Fame. I saw Hello Burton 351985 on Twitch. How you doing? Not when I was on, but Fame is one of those movies. It's 40 years old. I can't believe that Fame is 40. That's just bananas in itself that Fame is 40. But Fame is 40 years old this year. And I happen to be watching, there's a show called Stars in the House that also streams on Facebook Live. And it is run by this guy named Seth Rudetsky, who is a really well-respected musician in the Broadway community. He started doing these Stars in the House live streams to raise money for Actors Fund. And he's brought iconic cast back together, all in the name of a donation for the Actors Fund. And I think that that's great. But I was watching one, and they were talking about Fame being 40 years old. I was like, wow, I can't believe it. And in the process of them talking, Debbie Allen was on that call. And Debbie Allen said that she had originally auditioned for the role of Coco, which was played in the film by Irene Cara. They cast Debbie ultimately in the role of an older dancer who was like a dance teacher assistant, which is why you see her at the table during the audition with Leroy. But she actually wasn't the dance teacher. She was the dance teacher assistant. And then eventually, as the years went on and they moved it from the silver screen to the small screen on TV, she became known for being Lydia Grant. They made her the dance teacher at the School of Performing Arts, and she became known for being Lydia Grant. But that film was directed by Alan Parker. Oh, and then I found this very interesting in that that YouTube streaming that I saw about Fame. So what also was said about Fame during that YouTube streaming is that Debbie Allen had also said that while she was doing Fame the movie, Joanna Merlin, who was the woman sitting next to her, I think I have a picture of that. Let me show y'all that. So the woman who was sitting next to her in this picture, this is Joanna Merlin. Joanna Merlin was the casting director for Fame, but she was also the casting director for Sweet Charity. She asked Debbie Allen if Debbie wanted to audition for the role of Charity Valentine in Sweet Charity. And she said, yeah, okay. And so, as we know, later on, Debbie went on to get a Tony nomination for her role as Charity Valentine in Sweet Charity. And then I love this picture right here of the cast. So this is Leo going from left to right. That's Lee Carreri on the far left. This is Antonia in the white, who was the ballerina. Irene Cara and Jean Anthony Ray and Laura Dean are sitting down. Now, let me tell you a story that they told me about about Laura Dean, not Laura Dean, about Antonia. Apparently, Antonia was a real life ballerina when she was in Fame, and she was auditioning to be in the New York City Ballet, and she'd had this really important audition that was coming up to audition for George Balanchine, because George Balanchine would actually go to the auditions and cast people in real time, not cast people, but make you a member of the company in real time. But the approval had to come from him. But she ended up getting cast in the New York City Ballet and in Fame at the same time, which I thought was really, really, really cool. And one of my favorite moments, so I had an opportunity to work with Debbie. I call her Miss Debbie, to work with Miss Debbie in a musical here in Pasadena, California, at the Pasadena Playhouse. It was called Twist, an American musical. And I had a couple of parts in that musical. And one day in rehearsal, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, could you just say that famous line from Fame? And she broke out with, you want fame? Well, fame costs. And here's where you start paying in sweat. And the room just went up. It was one of my favorite moments in life ever. What are y'all saying over in this chat room? I see y'all. Pictures. We want to see the dress. Oh, I'll show a picture of my dress next week, or I'll throw it up online. But yeah, I had dreads. They were all the way down to my butt. They were so long. And you said this is a little off topic, but since we're talking about Sundance, did you ever see the film The Infiltrators? No, I did not see the film The Infiltrators, but I will put that on my list to see. And yes, Michael B., they are streaming Fame on YouTube. Now, Irene Cara, who played Coco, you guys, she would go on to win 2 Grammys and an Oscar, not for this film, but for Flashdance. The Body Electric became a solo impetus for Laura Dean, because apparently when Laura Dean, this is also what I learned in the live stream, when Laura Dean was in the film, everybody had a solo but her. And so she was, very vocal about that. And so they made The Body Electric a moment where she had a solo. I also want to point out that when Debbie Allen went to do Sweet Charity, she ended up forging a lifelong friendship professionally and personally with Gwen Verdon, who was the original Charity in Sweet Charity on Broadway, and Bob Fosse, who created the musical. I also wanted to tell you that Debbie Allen, in case you did not know, won 2 Emmys for choreography for the TV series Fame. And she became, now this I didn't know, and I don't know why I didn't know this, but Debbie Allen was the first African-American woman to win a Golden Globe for Best Television Actress in a Comedy, with Tracy Ellis Ross being the second one. Do y'all know that the Television Academy is over 70 years old? Why have we only seen 2 Black women win for a comedy, no less? Just saying. Is it me? I don't think so. Glad they won. Kudos and homage to them, but that's kind of bananas. And I told you about Antonia. So let me tell you real quick about To Die For, because this film, To Die For, is this crazy, crazy film. So I love Nicole Kidman. She's one of my favorite actresses ever. But back in the day, like in 1995, I want to say it was, she did this movie called To Die For. And it was her and Joaquin Phoenix. Let me show y'all a picture. It was her and Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. Where are they? I didn't put the pictures of them in here, but I got a picture of her though. There she is. She played this crazy local weather person who wanted to be a national weather girl. She desperately wanted to be a national weather girl, and she would do it by any means necessary. But she convinced Joaquin Phoenix and these 2 other teens to kill her husband because she said her husband was abusing her. It is a really dark, it's a dark comedy for all practical purposes, but it was, to me, one of Nicole Kidman's best roles ever. Casey Affleck was in that movie. Matt Dillon was in that movie. Ileana Douglas was in that movie. Wayne Knight was in that movie. You know Wayne Knight from being Newman on Seinfeld, if you ever watched it. You know how Jerry Seinfeld would always go, Newman, like he was all pissed off. But that's where you know him from. This movie won Nicole Kidman her very, very first Golden Globe. It was her first Golden Globe doing To Die For. I love that movie so very, very much. And the character that she played was Suzanne Stone. Now, what you didn't know, so for every film that I've talked about that I love, 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 I told you what everybody knows, and then I'm going to tell you what you didn't know, and sometimes I didn't know. I didn't know that the role of Suzanne Stone, played by Nicole Kidman, originally was offered to Meg Ryan, who turned it down, who turned the part down, and the $5 million salary that was attached to it. Child, I wish somebody would offer me $5 million to play a movie. I'd be like, excuse me, hello. I need to be in that movie like yesterday. But yeah, she turned that role down. And the film is based on a novel that was inspired. Now, this is what I did know. It was based on a novel inspired by facts that emerged during the trial of Pamela Smart, a school media services coordinator who was imprisoned for seducing a 16-year-old student and convincing him to kill her husband. I thought this couldn't possibly be true because it was so incredibly bananas. The way the whole thing played out, it was bananas. It was like, who does that? Who does that? I forgot to say that House Party was celebrating their 30th anniversary this year, and To Die For is celebrating their 25th, Fame their 40th anniversary, Love and Basketball their 20th, and Hustle and Flow their 15th. Now, I also want to let you know before I get out of here that the Bentonville Film Festival is happening this week. It's a film festival that is curated by Oscar winner Gina Davis. And it begins August 10th, which is tomorrow, and goes through the 16th. Your girl, I'll be moderating some panels for them beginning on Tuesday through the rest of the festival. So be on the lookout for that. You can see me moderating the panels and get all that information over at bentonvillefilm.org, BentonvilleFilm.org. It's a really wonderful festival. And y'all know that film festivals are totally, totally, totally my jam. And I love them so very much. So, and I want to tell you about one film before I get out of here. There's a film that is called 1,000 Cuts. This film was bananas. It was bananas. And I want to try to tell you what it's about really quickly. It is a documentary that centers around a journalist, Maria Ressa, who she was a former journalist at CNN, and now she has her own site called Rappler over in the Philippines. Once she openly criticized the president of the Philippines about how he was handling the country, she became a target. And his politics, Duterte is the president of the Philippines, and he he beat the Marcos family in the last election. I think maybe in 2016 is when it was, to win. He won by saying this. He straight up said, if I catch you doing drugs or if I see you doing drugs, I will kill you. And they elected him to president. Sound familiar? He also was a person that he referred to women, the smell of women, as dried fish. He bragged about the prowess of his male anatomy. And he literally called women on many occasions the B word because he didn't like what they said or he didn't care for how they decided to criticize him. So that film is called 1,000 Cuts. I highly, highly, highly suggest that you watch it. It blew my mind how very similar and parallel it is to where we are right now in America. And one thing that Maria Ressa said that resonated with me and haunts me even as I tell you about it is the fact that all the other countries watch what we're doing. And she said, we're seeing 1,000 cuts to the death of our democracy. So many cuts that the democracy is weakened until it dies. And that's so very, very, very true. That's where we are in America. So if you're confused about what's going on here in America politically wise, this is the thing. Everybody else looks to America for their next move. And right now, our moves have been slow, deliberate, and kind of out of pocket. So there's that. But that's all I wanted to tell you guys for today. So remember, if you haven't checked out House Party, Hustle and Flow, Love and Basketball, To Die For, and Fame, these are some things that you can stream right now that will bring you much, much joy. They're very uplifting, fun-filled films that will make you laugh. They'll just make you feel good. And they're some of my favorite films ever on the face of the planet in Black cinema, and To Die For, just because I kind of love Nicole Kidman because I think she's the bomb.com. Next week, I have so many people on this show next week. It's bananas. I might possibly have someone that I'm going to save it and it'll be a surprise to the last minute, but I definitely have Russell Crowe and Karen Pistorius talking about their new film that's coming out called Unhinged. I will also have Jackie Weaver, who has a film coming out called Stage Mother, which is pure comedy. And in the next couple of weeks, I will have Dominic Fishback and Joseph Gordon-Levitt from Project Power, which will be streaming on Netflix. And I'm also gonna have, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. I'm gonna have Shaka Khan here, y'all. Shaka frickin' Khan. She's She's voicing the voice of Henrietta the Chicken in The One and Only Ivan, which is slated to stream on Disney Plus. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Please, if you are on YouTube, click below to subscribe and give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you were here. I so wholeheartedly loved coming over here and talking to you guys every week, as I often do, because you know it's my jam. It's my jam. I love it, love it, love it, love it. And until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease. And I will see you with a star-studded show, baby, next week. Get into it with your girl, Carla Renata. Love, peace. See you on the flip side. Bye.